Welcome back to another episode. Today's topic is share. All right, so remember when we were a kid and you're like, oh, you want to share your toys? And sometimes kids get to that certain age where, no, that's my toy, that's no one else's toy. Well, sharing is, this lesson's a little bit about that, right? It's about sharing, it's about why sharing is actually important. So, what is a share? A share is you're essentially making a gift or you're giving a gift. And when you were a kid with toys, it wasn't just, let's say, giving your toy away, but it was offering the opportunity for someone to actually play with it, right? So, why give gifts? Well, usually when you give a gift, it's supposed to make you feel good, knowing that someone actually appreciates what you're giving them. And so, usually when you give a gift, you're not expecting anything in return, but you're offering it in the hopes that it will actually help someone else out with whatever they're looking for, let's say, within their lives. So, when you do that, especially when something that actually truly is your gift or your skill or your talent or whatever God gave you, and you give that to someone else or the world, that's huge. That's huge, right? And it's sad that most folks don't actually get that opportunity because they may not know what their strengths are. They may not like the whole idea of sharing or giving gifts. And when the world misses out on things like that, it's a travesty. So I made sure it was important for me to actually make sure that I shared my gift of teaching, and hopefully you learned something from this program. So hopefully my share is essentially helping you out within that sense. Whenever you do give a share, especially when it's something that's, let's say, a life experience or something that you had to go through that, let's say, was challenging and not easy, don't just share the achievement, share all the challenges and the struggles and everything you had to go through to get there. Sometimes we hear of overnight successes that in actuality took, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20, even sometimes 30 years, right? Folks that have spent like lifetimes on trying to share something that they know or gift with the world. And they don't just want to have that one day just mark like, oh, you did it, yay, and it all happened on one day. No, no, no. It happened over a long period of time. And you want to share that because you want to give people a realistic idea of what it actually required from you. When you do give, don't expect to get something back necessarily. God always finds a way for it to come back to you, but you don't want to have any expectation of what that will actually be because you don't want to be disappointed, right? So the whole idea is when you give, just give it out of your generosity, right? If something comes back to you, great. If nothing does, maybe something's supposed to come back at a later point in time. You don't know. So don't sort of give with that expectation that something's coming right back. And probably the most important thing is that you just need to do it. You need to be, it doesn't need to be perfect, but you need to actually be able to get it out there. It needs to happen. And so, believe it or not, with this whole series that I put together, it really started from a small idea. It was really the idea of how can I make an impact working from home, being, with my kids and not really being able to do the things I normally do. And what folks are kind of going through the same challenges that either I do now or that I have done in the past. And so the small idea started with let me make one video every day, just one. It doesn't have to be long, but if I can make one video and it can help someone, then it can build momentum, right? And if that one person got benefit from just one video that I have and they decided to share it with someone else, then that next person can actually benefit from that. So my whole idea is if I was going to make something, I want it to be something that was easily shareable, right? So not only giving my share and making a video, but making it something that could easily be shared across people, communities, I mean, you name it. And so once I put it out there, folks can actually reuse it. So that was my goal. And something that started as a really small idea in one video a day, I did it for 30 days. And after I did it for 30 days, I kind of had a book. I mean, believe it or not, like I always wanted to put together a book, but I never felt that, I really knew the process for actually getting started. But that's literally what it required. Just one small step, like almost one video, one chapter, one page, I mean, you name it, but you just do it a little bit at a time. And you keep a routine and you do it regularly, like we talked about the average, right? And then you hit that point where all of a sudden you did something and you didn't even realize it, right? So at this point, believe it or not, you've gotten to the finish line of my second series, which was the bucket list challenge. And hopefully, with everything that's been going on, you've been able to identify what's been on your bucket list. Hopefully, you've taken some progress in a direction of achieving the goals that you actually have in mind, or maybe you're just getting progress on that, right? So if you're able to do that, then I feel like I've accomplished my goal, and at least getting you started. And if you've been able to either learn something new that can change your life forever, if you now believe that you're stronger than you were in the past, or, and I don't think I've done it in 30 days, but if you've gotten to a point where all of a sudden you've been able to turn a dream into a reality, or even if it happens, beyond this point, if I've been any help or assistance to you, I'd appreciate if you actually let me know. It helps me get a better idea of how well I'm actually getting toward and accomplish my own goals. And so to finish everything here, let's see. So just wanted to kind of recap the whole experience. I remember we started with the big goals and the milestones. And I remember like one of my goals was losing weight. And believe it or not, I mean, I've lost a couple pounds. Believe it or not, the portion control and eating helped out a lot. And honestly, as soon as I actually started exercising, playing hockey again with the phase 2 reopening, I already dropped, I think, probably like 5 pounds in the last couple days, just from the vigorous exercise I've been receiving. So, I mean, just the world's an interesting place. We don't necessarily know what it's going to bring, but as long as we have a belief in ourselves and we have faith in what we can actually do, there's nothing that we can be stopped from doing, right? And so I hope your experiences and your challenges aren't something that set you back. If anything, I hope that you actually see the learning lessons that are within them, because whatever challenge or struggle you go through, there's always a learning lesson. You just have to find it. And start with something small. It does not need to be big. Hopefully you've had a chance to gain some momentum with something over these last 30 days. But even if you're kind of on the fence a little bit, start with something. It doesn't have to be big. Something small you can do in a few minutes a day. Do it for 30 days. See where it actually gets you, where you are at the finish line of that. And when you make your shares, like my whole idea is I want to be able to do this as an offering for what I do for life. Like, this is what I love doing. I love teaching. And so, trying to put this together as a business, I mean, that's been a challenge too. It's like, how do you, figure out how you can actually help the most people, and how do you turn something into a business? And so the biggest thing I feel is you got to start offering your content and everything for free. Like, I could charge people for this stuff, but it wouldn't necessarily feel right, because this is something that I went through that I want other folks to actually know about. I want my kids to know about it. I want my family to know about it. I want it to be kind of a remembrance of like everything that I've gone through. So, I mean, you've kind of got a little bit of my life story, and I'm just getting started. So there's definitely going to be more. I'm going to be putting more content out there. I'm hope that, if you have an appreciation for it, share it with the folks that you believe will benefit from it as well. And I know that if I continue to do this, it will reward me. And I don't necessarily have to know what that actually is yet. That's the big thing. I don't know have the answer to that yet. And believe me, I love to know the answer. I love to come up with solutions. But if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to build enough momentum where my gift will reward me. And if anything, I want to leave like this whole series on that note. Whatever you're doing, whatever you are working to overcome, whatever your challenges are, when you get to that point where you feel like you've gotten to your destination and you set up the next course for your next destination or wherever life is actually going to take you, you have to know that whatever you went through was for a reason. And if anything, it was to build you. It wasn't to kind of detract from anything that you were meant to be. It was actually to build you into who you were meant to become. And when you realize that and you start living, let's say, your life's purpose, and you start moving ahead with life with that in mind, your gifts will actually reward you. So I hope you understand, or maybe have a better sense of what your gifts actually are. I hope you're actually using those and moving forward with them. And I hope you also know that your gifts will reward you. It's not a question of trying to set the price tag for that, but it's just putting it out there and it's getting the response. And if there's anything that I haven't covered that you would love to get some clarity on, I appreciate in you letting me know. So I appreciate you tuning into this series. I hope you've solved or addressed some of the bucket list challenge or knocked off some of the challenges that you've had on your bucket list. and I'm putting more content out there. So I hope you stay tuned, especially for the next series I believe that's coming up. That is the future of education. I'm really looking forward to that because I had a lot of lessons that I've just been looking forward to just putting out there and getting a response from. So I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you, and thank you for joining me on this incredible journey. There will be more. And as always, I would appreciate your feedback. So if you've tuned in for this long and you want to share any appreciation with me, please text thanks, THANKS, to 571-777-0461. That way you can share your feedback with me. I'd love to see what your impressions were for this program. And I couldn't do that without offering you a gift with that as well, because I always love to give more than I receive. So appreciate your feedback. Thanks for tuning in, and looking forward to catching you on the next one. Bye.